Hello and welcome to the Center for Asian Studies celebration of our class of 2020 Asian Studies graduates. My name is Tim Oakes and I'm the director of the center. I'd like to say hello to all our graduates, their family and friends, and I hope you're all doing all right. I'm sorry I'm not able to greet you all in person. This recorded message merely reinforces the obvious fact that you are all graduating in an extraordinary time. I know getting to this point has not been easy. It's not easy even in the most normal of times. But I know these past few months have been especially difficult and full of a lot of disappointment. But things will get better. And when they do, I know that all of you will be prepared to move forward and succeed. For those of you somewhat less familiar with us, I'd like to take this opportunity to share a little bit about the Center for Asian Studies. We are the largest area studies program in the state of Colorado, and also the oldest. The first and only center in Colorado to be awarded federal status as a National Resource Center. We have over 100 affiliated faculty across the CU Boulder campus. Simply stated, our mission is to make Asia as accessible to as many of our students and others in the CU Boulder community as possible. That includes not only students in the humanities and social science fields for whom the study of Asia makes immediate sense as a complement to interests in, say, history, religious studies, philosophy, geography, or anthropology. But here at CU, it also includes students in the environmental sciences, in business and engineering, in media studies. We try to incorporate as many corners of campus into or make as many corners of campus as accessible to Asia as possible. We also work to expand teaching about Asia in K-12 education. And we support the faculty in building research capacity, mostly through grants that we obtain. We have a small dedicated staff, and I'd like to thank them for helping keeping things running. These include our executive director, Danielle Salaz, our program coordinator, Liza Williams, and our grants administrator, Nancy Johnson. And of course, our associate director, Colleen, whom you'll be hearing from in a few minutes. So a little bit about me. I'm a professor of geography, which is my disciplinary home, but I was an Asian studies major as a college student. So I have a disciplinary home in geography, but also an area studies home. And in my mind, anyway, this kind of encapsulates the way the university, or the way our knowledge production, in some ways you could say, is divided up into two ways of learning. One is disciplinary knowledge, the disciplines of history, economics, geography, so on and so forth. And the other is area studies. Area studies is not just the study of places, but the idea that you need to study the world in context. In other words, it's not enough to know basic principles and theories that you find in disciplinary knowledge, but that these principles and theories look different and act differently depending on which part of the world you're in, or what language you're using to talk about them and to think about them with. And it also means that different histories and cultures and traditions profoundly shape who we are and how we interact with and understand one another. And that's really what the area studies tradition tries to get at, and that's what we're all about in Asian studies here. Now, I could tell you all the practical reasons why it's good to be an Asian studies major, how you're all going to get fantastic jobs that will help you take care of your parents when they get old, in true Asian fashion, as well as donate lots of money to the Center for Asian Studies here at CU Boulder. But part of that has to do with the fact that if you look, for example, at the top 10 trading partners for the state of Colorado, almost all of them are Asian. Or that, for example, as China starts remaking the world development map by building bridges and dams and highways and new ports and even new islands, I'm starting to find myself having more and more conversations with engineers, for example, who are telling me, I wish I knew something about Asia. So I think you're all going to succeed when you get a chance to get out there and do so. But let me tell you what I really want to say about Asian studies and an area studies approach more generally. What area studies is really about is not learning about another part of the world. Area studies is about learning from the people in those other parts of the world. It's a very subtle but important distinction. Asia is not what we study. Asians are who we learn from. Being an Asian studies major is like saying, I'm open to being changed by my encounter with this place, with these people, their beliefs, their perspectives. I want to learn from them, and I will be strengthened by what I learn. And some of us have really taken this to heart, and that's why we're still in school years and years later. But I hope you will carry that with you as you eventually go out into the world and do whatever it is that you do that will make the world a better place. And that is especially important right now. Right now, fear of other people and other places, especially Asian people and Asian places, has become an easy way for a lot of people in this country and in other parts of the world to somehow cope with the COVID-19 pandemic. And this fear is already being used by some for political purposes. There are a lot of people who would simply like to cut ourselves off from the rest of the world. But the pandemic has reminded us of how deep and fundamental our connections to each other are. The world's interconnections are opportunities for strengthening, I think. And when we sever them, that's how fear grows. Imagine what a little more willingness to cooperate between the United States and China might have achieved over the past few months. So as the world opens up again, I want each of you, Asian Studies graduates, to do something with the area studies perspective that I hope we have succeeded in teaching you, to help make the world stronger, more resilient, and more caring as it recovers from this pandemic. And now I'd like to turn things over to my colleague, Dr. Colleen Berry.
Thanks, Tim. First, let me say that I'm sorry that due to the interesting times we are living in, you don't get to celebrate your graduation in the traditional way. But please remember that graduation is not the end. It means to change gradually, and commencement is a new beginning. This is the beginning of your new lives. I'm really excited to see what all of you are going to end up doing because I've seen how hard you've worked to get to where you are today. Majoring in Asian studies takes drive and commitment. Think about all the times you had to work at what seemed like 10 times harder in your language classes than you did in any other class, and yet you did it. You've all shown a huge amount of enthusiasm and dedication for what you've done. That enthusiasm and dedication will carry you a long way in your lives. Majoring in Asian studies also means that you've learned a great deal about new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things, and new ways of communicating. You've studied other cultures, and as Professor Oakes said, you haven't learned about them as much as you've learned from them. My goal in teaching Asian studies has never been to just produce students who go into some field directly related to Asian studies. Rather, it's been to open new doors and windows in your life and help you see things from new perspectives and to find your passion. I know that each of you will be really successful as you move on to the next stage in your lives. And by success, I don't necessarily mean the traditional definition of getting a great job that pays lots of money, although that would be really nice. Success to me means that you find your passion in life and that you remain interested in the world around you. It's an understanding that there's always so much more to learn and that you're excited about doing that. I know it's a scary time in many ways, but I also know that you have the tools to build meaningful lives, and I'm very excited about what that will look like for each of you. So please, take care and be courageous. Thanks.